Well, here we are in the Secret to Life number 3. And another wasted conversation. So, if you really cared to take a look at this thing that I speak of here, Secret to Life, you need to realize that it's never been discovered. That's why they call it a secret. And by the way, if you discover the secret and begin speaking it, people will say, "What? What is this nut case doing?" You see, because it's a secret. And here's one of the aspects of it. You do what I'm doing, not have any idea at all about what you're going to say, not have any preconceived consideration of what you're going to say. Well, except, of course, there is a general context here that we're looking at, which is the secret to life. So it can't be said that 100% of what is being spoken comes from nothing, comes from creation, comes from intelligence and truth, because there is that little 1% that says the secret to life. You see, so what it is that I'm going to say next is that we are hearing what I'm going to say next simultaneously. That means at the same time, by the way, in case you guys didn't know. Those big words, they catch me every once in a while. So, in my 40 years of doing this, the one sort of constant that I've noticed is you either keep it on a small one-to-one basis, or you lose those with whom you're speaking. If you ever noticed the guru folks that send you the messages, and the Tullys, the Robins, the Tonys, well, that's the same person. The Eckhart Tolles, that's the same one too. Who's that other guy? Eben and a Christian Michael. If you ever see if you can speak with him personally, you'll get this message. "Oh, he's way too busy to be messing with you, dumbass." Or something like that. But it's put in a real nice way. So by virtue of the message that they care to deliver, they destroy the message by making it universal so that everybody, if you will, supposedly will adhere to it. But if you notice, they mostly all surround it with income or coaching better or making more money or all of those things. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because in the case of, like, say, Tony Robbins, affects millions of people, and maybe out of that group, a few will actually see what he's saying. Most, however, simply follow along or jump on the bandwagon, much like I'm not comparing the two people, but the two actions. Jesus, or any person who steps up to the forefront of human maturity, human development. What I'm speaking of transcends, if you will, human development or improvement. Because I speak of the transformation of human beings. All of us. Well, planet Earth as well. And I have zero idea of what I'm doing. I don't know. So if you know, maybe send me a message. Say, here, Edward, you're missing this. So I get lots of that. Well, not lots of it, but some of that. So this is lesson number 3. You cannot know. Nobody can know. Now, it can be discovered. However, that discovery cannot be passed on from knowing it. It has to be passed on, needs to be, must be, from not knowing it, meaning from the truth of it. And that's a tiny, tiny, tiny little distinction. By the way, I don't know if there's anybody here. I can't tell if there's anybody here unless they type something into the comment. I'm not even sure I can tell then. I'm still new at this, even though this is 50 some videos I have done, and I still don't know what I'm doing. Well, I haven't known what I'm doing for a lot of years. So my consideration is this. Is it possible for us to bring ourselves back from the jaws of total and complete failure as a country here in America, and perhaps as a planet on planet Earth? That's a question I've been looking at for 40 years. It's my consideration. By the way, when I say 40 years, I'm invoking the past, aren't I? I don't know how dumb I can get. It's my consideration that we are in the age of Aquarius, to quote a song I heard some time back. And we either will embrace it, move forward, or we will reject it and blow ourselves up. Now that's just my own consideration. And I don't know what the hell I'm doing, so obviously don't listen to me. However, I am putting forth something that I have discovered, something that I see. And that is the possibility for the transformation of you. You. For you to end your suffering, end your misery, end your flag waving, end your Americanism or Catholicism or Jewishism or Britishism or Australia, whatever all those labels you give yourself. I'm presenting the possibility to be free. One word. F-R-E-E. Are you surprised I can spell that word free? Free is a very difficult conversation to have, just as peace on earth is a difficult conversation to have, because it's never been here. Well, at least if you buy the Bible stuff, since the Garden of Eden. And it is a space that I create from. The space of free. The space of peace. And in this space that I speak from, there isn't a gun. There's no rape. There's no killing. There isn't any Republicans. Hell, those Democrats aren't even in here. There's no Americans. And it gets even more interesting. because there's no men and there's no women. There's no mothers, there's no fathers. There's only creation, intelligence, and truth, which would not embrace, take on, or assume any label at all. That's not to say that they might not be those things as they move along through the world. They might give birth to a child or vote on a certain ticket. However, to be the label of man, woman, Christian, Jew, Muslim, American, Australian, Japanese, to be those labels is why we go to war. So the end of conversation number 3 about the secret to life is drop all of your nutcase, idiotic, stupid, imbecilic, is there such a word as imbecilic? Labels. Don't be a label. And if you accept, consider being perfect. You might even say to yourself after this tape, if you've listened to the tape, you might even say to yourself, you are perfect. That will create the space for you to become perfect. Therese, hello. I do see you've... all labels are illusions, for sure. The problem is when we enter the label that we put upon ourselves, when we become a Democrat or when we become a Republican or, pardon me, a Canadian or an American or a man or a, when we become those things, we lose our reality because we accept a label. So I need to keep these things short because people don't like to listen to long, drawn-out conversations unless Trump is giving them, and then they revel in it. A perfect life to you. Thank you for stopping by, Therese LePage. I'm not even going to try that one, the whole name. But I'm delighted you're here.